Up next, we have another iconic brand, Salesforce. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the General Manager for Latin America. Or actually, let me just hold on here for a second while we get the furniture out of the way. We're going to be joined in a minute by Enrique Ortegón, and he's the Regional Manager for Latin America at Salesforce. And he's going to talk to us about how technology enlightens our world. So give me 1 second, and Enrique, come on up. Thank you.
All right. Morning. Great. So it's a pleasure for me to be here in Miami Beach on such a beautiful day. My name is Enrique Ortegón. I'm the General Manager of Latin America. And I have to say that given the weather, I feel slightly overdressed. But I'm here to talk about two of my favorite topics, technology and the future. And at Salesforce, we like to think that we help our customers see the future and get to the future. And as a technologist, I'm very excited to think that as we think about the future and where we're going, technology is going to be embedded in every aspect of our lives in the future. Now, talking about the future, I like to stay out of jail in the coming years, so that's why I have to show you this slide. Although this is not a sales presentation, I have to tell you that we're going to be talking about very exciting things in the next few minutes. And whenever you make purchase decisions, you make your purchase decisions based on currently available technology and features. Now, I started as an economist, and I'm an economist by training. And part of that is studying the history of business. Right? And when you think about the history of business, you see that technology and science are extremely intertwined in every aspect, and they have been behind every technological revolution. Let's think about the first technological revolution and the scientific discovery of the relationship between steam and power and how that drove the technology of the steam engine. Then came electricity, and then came computing. And we're going through the final chapters of the third technological revolution, which is a computing technological revolution, and going into the fourth, which is artificial intelligence. In this chart that I'm showing, what you see is on the horizontal axis, you have time, you have years, and on the vertical axis, you have adoption. And what's really exciting about this slide, as time goes by, you see that you have more lines are getting closer, and the slopes are getting steeper. So although it took us decades to absorb the first wave of mainframe computing, it's taken us only a few years to absorb the latest waves of technology innovation. Now, as young technologists, what this does, it gets us very, very excited to think that we're going to see several waves in our future lives of innovation, technology, and advancement. And that's very, very exciting. Now, we're all starting with the artificial intelligence technological revolution. And one thing that I wanted to start is by debunking one of the biggest myths about artificial intelligence, which is general AI. General AI is the image that robots are going to look like us and machines are going to replace us. And this is probably and mainly being driven by science fiction. The truth is that as scientists start to understand and study the human brain, the problem gets more and more complex. Our brain is way too hard to understand to be able to replicate. Now, our resident futurist at Salesforce, his name is Peter Schwartz. He's also a good friend of mine. We've been working together for many, many years. Some of you might recognize the name from movies like War Games or The Minority Report. Right? Him and I agreed that this type of fiction is bad science fiction. The real future of artificial intelligence and machine learning is narrow AI. This means embedding artificial intelligence in particular tasks or things that remove significant amount of friction from everyday actions. Think about how do you organize your pictures, think about scheduling, think about traffic control. So one of the things, for example, is artificial intelligence applied to prescriptive product usage, like Netflix, right? We all have been sitting, Netflix has a team of 100 people trying to maximize the 90-second window of time where they have most of your attention, and you think you make the decision about the movie you can watch. And who here hasn't spent many, many minutes arguing with their spouses about which movie we should watch next on Netflix? The truth is that doesn't matter. What Netflix is trying to do is trying to prescribe which movie you will be watching next, not trying to predict which movie you want to watch next. And that's a very nuanced but important definition and distinction. So next time you're sitting on your couch trying to think about which movie you're going to watch next, think about who wants you to watch it. Is it you? Is it Netflix? And do you really care? Now, who here has an executive assistant? It's like, show of hands. There's a few people. OK, the rest of us actually have to work, right? And those of us, I actually do have an executive assistant, and she makes my life much better because if you're like me, I travel all the time. I work across different time zones. I have a distributed team. Half of her time is spent trying to figure out my calendar and everybody else's calendar. Now with Clara, with artificial intelligence, you can have a machine trying to figure out, how do you optimize time, how do you optimize different calendars, and how do you optimize the meetings that are more important to you. Another application, and getting closer to our lives, is how to use artificial intelligence to transform healthcare and our own care in our health. So my father, for example, he's a pediatrician. He lives in Mexico. And recent studies have found that doctors spend about 2/3 of their time doing desk work and administrative work, like data entry, data collection, right? A lot that is behind the medical profession is not only knowledge, but then matching that knowledge to pattern recognition. So now we can use artificial intelligence and machine intelligence to aid doctors to have faster and quick identification and diagnosis. Companies like Metamine, who use image recognition to have early identification of symptoms and help doctors prescribe better. So now that we understand where narrow AI is going to help us a bit more and how it is going to be embedded in our everyday lives, I want to talk about what would the future look like. And the first thing I like to say is, as consumers, now we're more connected, we're more informed, therefore we're more demanding, and therefore we're empowered than ever before. And as we go through our lives, we expect that every touch point, every interaction that we have with the products we use, with the services we require, with the companies we have relationships with, are smart, are intelligent, are proactive, and that add value to us. I do expect that every company that tries to sell me a product or give me a service adds value to me and understands me. Now I provide information with my behavior, and it's up to the companies to understand what is it that I'm trying to get out of my life and out of every moment and every interaction, and provide value to me that way. For example, I checked yesterday in my hotel, and I didn't have to go to the front desk. I knew which room I had on my phone, and I walked straight up to my hotel room and opened it without even taking my phone out of my bag. That is using artificial intelligence, that's using predictive intelligence to make my life better. And as customers, we're going to connect, as people, we're going to connect to the world in completely new ways. Augmented reality is still out there. Virtual reality is helping humans interact with complete new scenes. I have 2 kids that love their virtual reality goggles, right? They interact with dinosaurs in ways that we can only dream of. And one of my favorites is the one on the very right-hand side of the slide, which is using artificial intelligence from a human perspective. This is a picture of a study done for Stanford Medical Research Labs, where we're using technology based on Google Glass to help autistic kids connect with other individuals, helping them recognize those individuals' emotions, which is something that autistic kids have a very hard time doing. Now, imagine that application in the world of business. I'm supposed to be a salesman, but I know I'm a very bad salesman because I have a hard time recognizing people and actually matching their faces with names. But what happens if I could have artificial intelligence on my phone where I can point things at my phone at people, they can recognize their faces, tell me their names and the last time I had an interaction with them, and pull out automatically all my notes from the last time I talked to them. We're also helping connect each other in completely different and frictionless ways with technology like Pixel Buds, who is now allowing people to have real-time conversations from different languages and removing that language barriers almost on an instant way. And neurocontrol, one of my favorite ones, where you're using EEG. The picture there is of Emotive, a company that's helping people control drones and control machines just with their thoughts. And now neural prosthetics, where we're helping amputees regain mobility and use of their limbs by allowing them to control their prosthetics used towards their thought. So given all this artificial intelligence applied to everyday tasks and to particular moments in time, how does that look in your in a day? So think about a day like today. Instead of having my phone set an alarm that's usually hideous, right, I have Alexa or Google saying, hey, Enrique, it's time to wake up, right? They probably play my favorite song, right, or the song I've been playing the most, right? And then say, hey, you got to go to this Emerge conference. You're in Miami. It's higher than 80 degrees. This is how you should dress, right? And by the way, this is Trump's latest tweet. I get on my car. It's a driverless car. It knows exactly where I'm going because it reads my destination from my calendar, right? And on my way, I'm very nervous about this presentation. I want to review it one more time. And why don't you teleport or hologram back in my VP of marketing, who, by the way, is based out of Sao Paulo, and review the presentation one more time. Now, let's think about the office. We all go to the office because we want to hang out around people, because we have the infrastructure, because we have all the things that we need there, right? But again, more and more we have distributed teams across different time zones and different geographies. So now the office is connected. I show up to my connected office. We can be in a particular location that I prefer. It can be home. It can be in my basement, right? And can have hundreds of screens monitoring everything that's relevant to me. If I want to have a meeting, which I usually go through other, technological tools, I go have a meeting with people from Brazil, from people from Miami, from people from Mexico, and teleport or hologram them into a virtual meeting room. And now I'm collaborating across 4 or 5 different time zones and geographies in a seamless way. So all this is very impactful. It's making me more efficient. It's making me most of my time, right? And it's making me more productive. But the question that everybody has these days is, what does this really mean for your work? And what does it really mean for your life? So looking back over the past 65 years, we actually realize that there's a higher percentage of people working today than 5 decades ago. So what does that mean? I'm having a hard time really grasping the concept that works and jobs are going away. Because what's really happening is not that entire jobs are going away. Certain tasks are being automated. And those tasks that tend to be automated are the tasks that are more predictive. Stuff like predictable physical work, data processing, data collection. Those are things we can really use the help of machines, machine intelligence, machine learning, artificial intelligence to automate those. But it's the things where you have to draw several connections, like the connection between brain and heart, managing people, right, that is not as susceptible to automation. Now, as tasks get more and more automated, there's going to be new jobs that are created, and there are jobs that are going to be completely different. So think about the IoT consultant. People are helping organizations, people are helping companies understand how do they connect their devices and how do they leverage them for everyday life. For example, drone operators. There's been a huge race on drone operations, using drones for job site inspection, using drones to understand what are the risks in certain construction sites, using drones for security reasons, right? That's a rise and that's an increasing profession. The one I like to talk about a lot, and this is because one of my friends actually is part of the founding team of Otto, is no longer at the company, but is the truck driver, right? And the conversation about what's going to happen to all those millions of truck drivers that are out there and that are at risk of losing their jobs because of driverless freight. Well, my point of view is very different. I think their lives are going to get better. There is a company just outside of Nevada that currently is redefining what the day in the life of a truck driver looks like. And it's kind of like this, right? The truck driver wakes up in the morning, has breakfast with their family, has coffee, and goes to his office. And there in his office, he sits in a pod and goes and picks up a driver's truck that is parked in a location just outside of a city. Then he drives a couple miles to the end destination safely. Then he picks up another truck, right? Takes it out of the city, drives it out of the city for a few miles, puts it in a secure lane, and off the truck goes. And throughout its day, this truck driver has now managed to drive 5, 10, 15 different trucks very safely in and out of the cities, right? And then gets to go home to his family, have dinner, and be with his wife. That is a great impact. I don't think truck drivers are going away. I think the lives of truck drivers are going to be radically different. And I think that's what's going to happen for a lot of our jobs, for a lot of our lives. Now, but this is still scary, right? What is it really going to happen as technology? You remember that slide with the waves and the slopes that are getting steeper and the lines that are getting closer, what is it really going to happen? So I was going through my old literature, and I found this quote from Time magazine. And Time is looking and saying, hey, the number of jobs lost to more efficient machines is only part of the problem. The problem is that automation is going faster than the economy is creating new jobs. So this is only the beginning to move in. This is only the beginning to eliminate service and office jobs too. And Time is a very serious magazine. I was like, oh my God, this is very serious. The only problem with this quote is when I notice, this is a quote from Time magazine from February 34, 1961. Oddly enough, Russia is still in the news. So I think that, doesn't matter. Some things will always be the same. Thank you very much.